of Ecuador.
Gracias. Señor presidente de la
President of the General Assembly, Deputy Secretary General, heads of state and government, ladies and gentlemen, representatives of the delegations here present. Ecuador will fulfill the 21 targets of the 8 Millennium Development Goals. Currently, 20 of the 21 targets have been achieved. Some of them ahead of time and to a higher standard than what was originally agreed. The target that is still in progress is reduction of maternal mortality by at least 75%. Until today, we have projected a reduction of 68% given current trends, but we have applied a specific strategy to achieve this year. These results have been possible thanks to a previously unknown kind of public investment, one of the highest in Latin America and the Caribbean, particularly in the social sector. When we came to government in 2007, we ratified the Millennium Development Goals. However, we did question the way that they were being put together. 8 years ago, in the 62nd Assembly of the General Assembly, we warned on the limitations of this concept of the Millennium Development Goals because they presupposed minimum principles which did not call into question the profound social and economic asymmetries that we have in the world. By subscribing ourselves exclusively to a set of minimums we felt very risky. The Millennium Development Goals satisfied consciences, but they were limited in terms of being able to bring about genuine social change. Overcoming poverty is the moral imperative of humanity because for the first time in history, it's not because we have a scarcity of resources, but because of perverse and exclusive systems. The best strategy for reducing poverty is reducing at the same time social and economic and territorial and environmental and cultural gaps. And that's why we are very happy that the Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 are stressing specific targets with regard to equity across the board, social, economic, gender, ethnic, territorial. All of this implies a better distribution of income and wealth within and between societies, as well as the elimination of illegitimate forms of accumulation of wealth, such as exaggerated inheritance rules, speculation on land, or profit gained from a deterioration of the environment. Public policy in countries such as my own, that wants to bring about great change, cannot conform itself to minimum goals because we run the risk of agreeing that human life is simply a process of resistance, which is just to extend the lives of people for a few hours more. What we propose, on the contrary, are goals not just on minimums, but maximums, social maximums. A perspective based on minimum goals would be to legitimize the reality that we see at the moment. It would not aim to bridge the differences between those that are subject to power and society. We should never consider the current rules, the modus operandi for public policy. We do not want to make the beneficiaries of policy in any way inferior. In Ecuador, dear friends, what we understand by development is to bring about well-being for everyone in peace and in harmony with nature. and we consider this an extension of human cultures. And in this regard, we are particularly happy to see that the Sustainable Development Goals very much attend to looking after the planet. Ecuador is the only country in the world that has a constitution which grants rights to nature. It is not just an issue of dealing with the environmental degradation of the planet, but also to bring about a new economic logic where public environmental values are seen as public values, and that the environment is not just seen as an issue to trade. This has to be seen as part of development rather than an alternative to development. We have to build societies with a market rather than societies of the market. We have to understand that certain forms of production and consumption that are dominant now are not relevant. They are not respecting ecosystems, and they are focusing on infinite wealth growth. What we need is for central countries to spend less time on diagnosing underdevelopment, and more time should be spent on questioning their own model of development. And this is why we're also very happy to see that a lot of the new goals, 6 of them, are associated with respecting the planet, which is the only one that we have. Living well is associated with genuine opportunity for individuals, and all of that is being expanded. And in this regard, the paradox, the moral paradox, that on the one hand we are promoting the free circulation of goods and capital, searching for greatest profitability, but on the other hand we are penalizing the free movement of those who are looking for dignified work, is quite simply intolerable and unsustainable from an ethical point of view. For the government of Ecuador, there are no illegal human beings, and the United Nations must insist on this point. The migration policy of rich countries are really shameful. What we need is an agenda that focuses on rights, where human mobility is not criminalized, and where people are not deprived of their fundamental rights. The absence in the 2015-2030 agenda of a direct goal with regard to human mobility is a lamentable omission. What we need is an agenda which listens to what the young poet Warsan Shire tells us. Nobody puts their children in a boat unless the water is more secure than land. What we would like to see is a development agenda where the sense of humanity takes the upper hand over capitalism. Otherwise, we will simply be validating targets and goals when what we really need is a renewed civilizational act. I thank you very much.
I thank the President.